everyone. Today's show is going to be about designing and styling your own personal beach paradise at home. This is Tom from Cerulean Bay. And before we kick off into today's content, we just want to make a little bit of a delineation here between tropical architecture or design and tropical styling. It is important to know the difference between the two. So, tropical architecture or design is what focuses on how a building or a home is going to respond to the climate or the weather of the area in which it's built. So, these are actual structural conditions of the house and things or strategies that go into the construction to lessen the amount of heat built up and lessen the amount of humidity. It encourages air movement throughout the home. It involves the use of a lot of windows to allow for that airflow. So it's all how a house is designed to handle the weather of the tropics is basically what it is. And if you happen to live in an area where this is of concern, maybe South Florida or Hawaii, someplace like this, and you are going to be doing some actual remodeling or maybe building something new, these are topics that you can go ahead and look into to make sure that everything that you're planning on doing is going to be maximized for the weather of that space. But if you're not, you're just interested in bringing that feeling of the island resort into your home, then that's where you just get into tropical styling. And that's using furnishings and decor pieces and artwork and colors and things like that to create a whole tropical style. You're not actually redesigning the structure of a room, or you're not going to be rebuilding anything there. So we just wanted to make that quick note that, again, tropical style, it just means creating that feeling of an island resort in the space that you've chosen to turn into your tropical retreat. And if you've been able to visit an island resort here or there, you know what I mean. You've seen it, you feel it. It's one of those things that you know it when you see it. It's that feeling, that whole sense of wanting to be there in your own home. But if traveling isn't something that you have done just yet, just imagine this. It means using furnishings and decor that recreate the serenity that's found in sunny climates of these far off exotic islands. You're recreating the scene using furnishings and decor and things like that. It's a style that is really made up of elements that are found in nature. It uses a lot of organic materials like tropical woods, rattan, bamboo. There's a lot of stonework. And when you get into the artistic style of it, you're looking at vibrant colors, a lot of bold patterns. You try to keep things open and airy. I mean, you don't want to overclutter your space with anything. But when these elements are brought together in a real meaningful way, and it all ties together in a really nice, cohesive look, then you will have achieved an awesome result. That's the sense of relaxation and peacefulness that is really reminiscent of those pristine white beaches and the swaying palm trees, the soothing sounds of the waves breaking on the shore. It just creates that true essence of island living. And that's what tropical styling is really all about. So if you really want your end result to make sense and maybe have it be defined by a particular country or a region like the South Pacific or Asia or maybe even Southern India or places in tropical Africa, where you get into a lot of really cool African artwork and things that you can find in those locations. If that's the direction you want to go, instead of just having it be one kind of general mix of everything tropical, I would really recommend doing a bit of research, looking at these particular countries, seeing what goes into their artwork and just the looks of the furnishings, and then targeting those and seeing where you can source those kinds of things. But to help you out here, I think it would be a good idea to get into kind of the origins of tropical style, what went into the furniture making of these countries way back in the day. And then that will help you target where you want to look and what you should really be going after when you want to create preferably an authentic look. I mean, we at Cerulean Bay, that's what we're really all about, is authenticity, or recreating things based on authentic looks so that there is a true sense of style. There's a true sense of meaning and purpose there. It can really maybe represent your dream place that you want to go to, or maybe you're from there and that's what you want to do is bring some of that home. So let's get into that for a bit. I would say that tropical styling in furniture really started in the age of exploration. And that's where explorers were first encountering indigenous cultures in places like the South Pacific, the Caribbean. These are cultures that have historically used local resources such as bamboo and rattan, things like mahogany and teak to create durable furnishings. These were obviously fit for hot and humid tropical climates, as these are local plant life that are available in those areas. These indigenous cultures used what was available to them and they developed their own artisanal skills over the years, over the centuries. These were passed down through generations, and it captures and preserves that cultural technique and that spirit of the location, so that when the explorers did come through and encountered who these local people were and what kind of things they were creating, how they lived, it really helped to define that particular culture and the looks from those particular regions. And then as time went on, the whole thing kind of turned into this old world meets the new world, where traditional tropical elements were really infused into Western design styles back in the day. And again, as more time went on and new design trends evolved, those old traditional tropical elements kind of withstood the test of time. And when you look at things like Asian tropical design or Pacific tropical design, Indian tropical design, you're going to see those old traditional ways of working, old elements of artwork and culture infused into the latest Western styles that are available today. And the cool thing about that is that's what creates such a wide variety of what's available now. It's resulted in furniture styles that we see in a lot of island homes, in a lot of luxury beach properties. There are a lot of really high end furniture lines that are out there. And there are a lot of interior designers out there who really know how to work with these furniture lines and these different design styles. So, yeah, that gives you a bit of the origin of tropical styling. Again, it's just that old world meeting the new over time, and it just helped to create what we have available today. So, when you get into tropical style furniture, it is important to know a bit of the history about it, why a piece looks the way it does, why the materials used in it were used, if it is something that's more authentic and handmade. We do prefer that if you are able to find it and if budgets allow for it. You know, handmade furniture is awesome. When you start getting into the whole factory made thing, again, just be careful because quality in the furniture industry is an issue. And I've seen this personally. I learned about it when I used to work back at Ethan Allen a long time ago. They had an excellent training program, actually, where you could see how Ethan Allen was making its furniture compared to just a lot of the real mass produced things that are out there, where there was just a lot of press board and engineered woods and all of this, as opposed to using real wood. And then the different techniques that went into the construction of it. There is still a lot of furniture that's produced here in the US, hardwood furniture. And when you look at the techniques that go into that, compared to some of the techniques that are used overseas, where there's just a lot of cost cutting measures and things like that, it does really affect the quality. So when you are ready to shop for any tropical style furniture, really, you've got to do your homework and make sure that you investigate the brand, see where it's being made, look into how it was being made, because that is going to affect the durability, how long it's going to last. Furniture is not cheap. Good quality furniture is simply not cheap. If you plan on having something for quite some time, you want to make sure that it's the best quality that you can get. But regarding tropical style furniture, Simply put, it is furniture that's inspired by what is found in these far off tropical cultures. And it is something that really shows the culture and the history and the artwork that was used in these locations. So, at its core, it's all about the inspiration found in the natural surroundings of places like the Caribbean and other parts of the world that we've mentioned. A lot of the inspiration in it comes from the lush tropical vegetation that was used to create it, those local hardwoods. Then you get into the intense colors that are found in the local floral and animal life. The cool thing about tropical woods, a lot of them are naturally dark, and dark hardwoods really help to create that kind of lush jungle feel when you are looking to create that tropical scene. That you do get into the palm trees. When it comes to wildlife, if you're into wildlife motifs that are used in upholstery or in art pieces, that's where you're going to see the monkeys and the elephants and things like that. And there's some really, really nice looking artwork, very well made, handmade pieces that include these motifs. But mentioning the woods, furnishings are typically heavy. It's another thing to consider when you are looking at tropical style furniture. Tropical hardwoods are typically very dense. So if you are looking for furniture that is lighter, that is more easily moved about in a room, you want to make sure that you look into the kind of wood that is used. Again, if weight is an issue. We do have a few examples for you of some tropical styling. You can look at traditional or classic pieces. These are larger statement pieces. Sometimes they're big armoires, they're big cabinets, big dining room tables. They are just more of a true classic, traditional, uh, tropical look. They're not going to be as sleek or more contemporary looking as like modern tropical, where when you get into kind of the modern tropical look, things are not busy. You don't have a lot of busy decorative detail. Lines are more sleek. These are great for like the minimalist looks where you want your furniture to be a little more understated, or then you can get into like the coastal look and they're going to have more subdued colors. It's going to look more beachy. There's going to be more of a beachy vibe to it. This is where you get into like the distressed wood finishes, things that look sun bleached. There's the use of driftwood and seashell accents and things like that. Then you get into kind of the luxury tropical. This is where you kind of get back to the darker hardwoods. You're looking at teak, you're looking at mahogany, and there's more of an opulence to it. They're very heavily detailed. There's rich finishes, a lot of texture in the wood. When you look at some higher end Asian or Indonesian furnishings, they have a lot of this. It's very heavy looking. It's very ornate. And speaking of woods, it is important to know where these woods are coming from. You want your pieces to be durable, as we said, and to avoid unnecessary wear and tear. You need to choose woods that are suitable for where you want to use them. There is a difference, obviously, in indoor and outdoor weather conditions. So just know that not everything that can be used indoors can be used outdoors as well. And this also depends on where you live. Some places, maybe you can get away with it more if you live in a drier area or maybe in a desert region. But when you're living in the humid regions, like here on the Gulf Coast or down in Florida, there's a lot of indoor woods that you cannot use outdoors because they will simply swell, they'll warp, they'll just start to rot. These woods will not hold up outside. So I think overall, when you're trying to go in a tropical style, maybe it's just best to stick with tropical hardwoods like teak. Teak is not cheap, but it is definitely worth it. It is a hardwood species that is really prized because it's weather resistant. It's very durable. It's actually one of the most popular hardwoods to use because it has a lot of natural oils in it that make it moisture resistant. It's very resistant to pests. It does not decay or break down easily. The oils also prevent warping and cracking. It just seems to be a type of wood that doesn't dry out so quickly. It ages beautifully, and because of its dense grain, there is really a minimal chance of it bending or cracking over time. So teak wood, it is harder than mahogany. It's harder than pine. It's harder than most woods. And it comes in a wide range of colors from yellowish to brownish. So be careful when you are shopping for teak that you get it in the shade that you want. Another great tropical wood is mahogany, and it is also known for its durability. And it also is one of those woods that takes furniture stains and oils really well. So if you get it unfinished and you want to stain it, it usually does really well with that. There are some very expensive furniture pieces that are made from mahogany. And if you live in a tropical area where mahogany is grown, it tends to be less expensive. When you are buying imported mahogany, it's going to be more expensive. This is also one of those woods that it does darken over time. So if you plan to keep it as kind of a generational piece that's going to be handed down, just know that it's going to look different years from now than when you bought it. So it does darken more than other woods tend to do. Other tropical woods that you can consider are things that are made from bamboo. Bamboo is technically a grass. It is not a wood. And when you get into the giant cane species of it or varieties of it, it's got some really, really great characteristics. It's definitely more lightweight. It's very sturdy. It's very durable. And it is naturally resistant to humidity and to any pests and things like that. But it does require some periodic oiling, like with the furniture oil, because it will crack over time as it dries out. But if you get into bamboo furniture, these are definitely more competitively priced, and you can find all kinds of accent pieces with it. There's also bed frames and tables, but you can get cool decor pieces in picture frames and artwork. It's also used in decking. It's used in interior flooring. So bamboo is a great wood to use. Rattan is another plant-based type of wood. It's actually stronger than bamboo, and it comes from a very brutal looking climbing vine, which is actually related to the palm, and it's native to the tropics. And so with rattan, you're getting into that kind of that more of that wicker look. It's really good for chairs. It can be used for sofa frames. You'll find it used in headboards. But just know that with rattan, with real rattan, you've got to keep it indoors because it is very susceptible to mold. It will rot in high humidity and in wet conditions. So if you do want to use that rattan look outside, we suggest going after synthetic wicker, or also known as resin wicker. There are some really great pieces that are made for outdoor use with this kind of material. And you will find the patio chairs and accent tables and lounge sets. It's very, very common, but synthetic wicker is cool because it's not susceptible to damage in extreme temperatures. It can take strong sunlight. It can take moisture. Good quality synthetic wicker will not warp or crack. It can fade over time if it's left in the sun, but that's where if you're going to invest in good quality outdoor wicker, you might as well get some good furniture covers for it as well, so you can cover it up when it's not used. But one other type of material which is used for tropical furniture indoors is seagrass and water hyacinth. That's another type of a seagrass. These are very flexible. When they are dried, they're very strong. And these are materials that are used for pieces like chairs, ottomans, stools, end tables. When they're woven together, they are very, very strong. They create an awesome texture. They have a lot of visual interest to it. They actually bring some warmth to an indoor space because of all that texture. But these two, they are not resistant to moisture, so they should only be used indoors. If you use seagrass outside, it can start to get that spotty mold on there as it just starts to break down. So, yeah, you want to consider these for indoor use, but they are also very eco-friendly along with bamboo because these are such renewable plants. They can easily be regrown and, yeah, they're considered to be very eco-friendly from that sense. So, moving on from the types of woods that are used to create tropical furniture, when you get into the upholstery, This is where you're going to draw inspiration from things like the fine white sand on the beach or the vibrant blue seas, the green rainforests and jungles. The color palettes here, they run the gamut. This is where you can bring in those bold colors using corals and mango and oranges, and you've got your yellows and greens and blues. And then you balance it all with a good mix of the neutrals, the creams and the browns and the beiges. If you're into motifs or patterns, this is where you can get into florals, palm leaves and banana leaves, even the tropical animals. You can use these on upholstery cushions, use them in window treatments such as curtains. Some accessories can be used here too in upholstery when you've got a really cool wooden ottoman, maybe with an upholstered top or footrest. Some of these open and they double as storage. So that's kind of cool. But accents will really allow you to bring in island style artwork and really cool table lamps, folding screens, which are maybe made from carved woodwork and can serve as a room partition type of thing. Or if you need a little bit of a divider to divide one space from another, folding screens are actually very cool. And just a quick note about accents and accessories. We kind of split them into two categories here because the words are very interchangeable. We consider accents to be things that you pretty much just look at. It's something cool and you place it on a console table or coffee table or on a shelf, maybe, on the floor if it's a bigger piece. And it's really just something that you look at. Whereas an accessory is something that you use. So as I mentioned, the ottomans, that can be used for storage. Those are accessories, table lamps, anything that serves a purpose that you can actually use. Another great way to consider accessories are like countertop appliances in the kitchen. Some people really buy like the cool uh, bread mixers or the stand mixers, and then they've got toasters or blenders or whatever. These aren't things that you just look at. These are things that you actually use. So they are an accessory. And if you get them in really cool tropical colors for your kitchen, or maybe in some really neat vintage style, again, it doubles as an accent. So you've got these accent pieces. They accent the look of a room like your kitchen, but it's an accessory as well. So you can use it. Same thing in your living room or in your bedroom or wherever you're creating your tropical space. So look at the functionality of the pieces going in there. And if you need some functionality, you need some storage, you need some lighting, you need to partition the room in some way, or maybe to hide a corner that's kind of cluttery or whatever. Those are the accessories that you can go after. So as we move on here, just know that tropical decor is more than just furniture and upholstery. It's more than just the layout. Again, when you're considering true tropical style, it is obviously the blending of the outdoors with the indoors. It's connecting with nature. It's living with that carefree, positive state of mind. But there are some other pieces which can be used to create that true, complete look of a tropical style. As you get into things like sofas, couches, or sectionals, just try to look at what the frames are made of. If you can find some really cool pieces that have a frame with rattan or bamboo woven panels on the side, these are designed to provide a real airy and open feel. And then you'll have upholstery fabrics, which are made usually from like linen or cotton. That helps to create that real organic tropical feel. Look at the patterns on there. If you don't want to just keep things solid and neutral and you do want some patterns and color, look for some big prints, look for some big botanical motifs. That'll help bring the outdoors in. But yeah, when it comes to sofas or other seating pieces, we love exposed framing because then you're bringing in that wood, you're bringing in that bit of nature. So yeah, wherever you can incorporate rattan or bamboo into your upholstery and have exposed wooden frames, that's awesome. You can also do this with armchairs and accent chairs. These usually have a lot of character and stand out on their own as great accessories to a room. Many times they have like a wider form or a wider silhouette to them. And these, depending on the styles, they work really, really well in places like in a bedroom or in a home office or even in a hallway or an entryway. When you have that single solitary chair there, if you've got a cool rattan or bamboo armchair or accent chair, they do speak out on their own. They make their own little statement there, which is really cool. If you're looking to maybe do a dining room, you want a very cool tropical style dining room, there are a lot of ways to bring the tropical vibes into there too. And again, this is where we recommend keeping things on the light and airy side. You can go with dark tropical hardwoods in beautiful dining room tables, but then keep your upholstery on your chairs lighter, keep your window treatments lighter, your artwork lighter. You don't want to bring in a dark, heavy feel to the whole room. But you can also go with a table that's made with a teak root base. So if you look at teak furniture and you see anything that looks like a teak ball or a root ball, the root balls of teak are actually polished down and they are made into many functional pieces, like the pedestal of a dining room table or maybe as some end tables or accent tables. They're very, very dramatic in appearance. They're not for everybody, but they actually look really cool. So if you have like a teak root dining table and you've got a piece of glass mounted on top, either circular or rectangular, whatever shape that you're into there, where you can see the teak root underneath, it is a true statement piece. It is a very dramatic, beachy way to have your dining room be. And it actually is really, really cool because you've got all the warm wood tones that come in with it. But if a teak root ball is a little too much for you and you want to go something more traditional, then do that. Just let the wood do the talking for your dining room piece. As I mentioned, coffee tables, end tables, these are great ways to bring in a mix of glass on top of a really cool piece of wood, or just using glass in and of itself as a surface because since it's see through, it's also very light and airy. You can find coffee tables which are made from wicker or bamboo or rattan. They're nice and woven and open, and they've got just a glass top on there to keep things light. These are great in living rooms or outdoor living spaces too. Or if you've got a covered patio or a covered terrace, it helps to keep things light and bright. And it's less wood to have to worry about in terms of degradation or molding or anything like that. But yeah, we love these glass pieces on top of a really cool piece of wood or as a tabletop for rattan or bamboo. It's really a great way to bring in a light and airy look. If you're maybe looking to do a bedroom in a good tropical style, there's a lot of ways to do that. One of the easiest ways to do this is with a tropically inspired bedroom set. This is where you have a matching headboard, bed frame, nightstands, and a dresser, but they're done in a really cool traditional tropical style, maybe like that old British West Indies look. If you look up online, going back to my Ethan Allen days here, if you look up Ethan Allen online, they had a furniture line called British Classics, which I loved. It was that darker, kind of heavier wood, but the way that it was carved and styled, it had those turned, they call it like a turned bed posts. They had the four poster canopy bed, and it's just the wood was kind of turned and it was really neat looking. But it's that old colonial look from when England was in the Caribbean and they had many of the islands down there as territories, but it's that British West Indies look. So yeah, Google that British Classics from Ethan Allen. Very, very cool look. But if you can find a furniture style in kind of that look, that's a really good way to go. There are lighter woods available as well, where it just kind of keeps things lighter in color and it has an overall lighter look to the room, if you don't want to get into the heavy dark woods. And then, of course, there are some really cool bedroom pieces out there that are made from rattan and different wicker materials. So, yeah, definitely check those out. When it comes to your bedding, keep things light, keep it breathable, use some really cool tropical patterns on there. If you want to go solid because you don't want any patterns or prints on the bedding, Save that then for some really cool artwork for your walls. Yeah, it's very easy to do tropical styling in the bedrooms. Four-poster beds are actually a good idea because then if you think of the mosquito netting that they used to use in the old days, and if you travel in the South Pacific today or other tropical locations, it still is very common. When we went to Fiji, we did discover that it wasn't something that was necessarily needed because in our bure, our individual room where we were, they had window screens on all the windows, so there were no bugs that could get in. But the beautiful canopy bed still had that mosquito netting on it, which just is a very classic look when it's pulled back during the day and then you can close it around the bed at night. Such a cool look. Very, very tropical. So I think from here, after having discussed a lot of the individual pieces that would go into individual rooms, maybe we can just touch on a bit of the regional influences. Kind of as we hinted at the beginning of the show, this is where you can look at different tropical regions and look at their artistic inspirations and interpretations. You'll see their artistic styles. There's actually some very, very different looks out there within the world of the tropics. It's not just all palm trees and tropical fruit. But yeah, we really recommend looking at different ones, such as Hawaiian style furnishing or Polynesian style furnishings. There's a lot of influence from that part of the world, a lot of bold tropical pattern fabrics and looks. So if you like a lot of color, bold color that's just going to pop, Hawaiian, Polynesian, South Pacific, that is an awesome look. We just absolutely love the look from that part of the world. You can also look online into Caribbean styling. This is what you're going to find in the islands of the Caribbean, obviously. And if you've traveled through there, you will find bold colorings as well. It just doesn't tend to be as prominent. So in Caribbean style, there is more of a lighter look, an airier look. They do use a lot of the darker woods and there are vibrant colors, but it tends to be a little bit more on the lighter side, kind of the washed out side with the colors. Maybe a good way to describe that is a little bit more of the sun bleached look. If you want to have a little bit more of an Asian influence, this is where I would look at the areas of Southeast Asia. This is going to be Indonesia, Bali, the Philippines, places like this, where you are going to find a lot of dark wood furniture. It's more intricate, it's very ornate. There's a lot of curved lines. Color isn't so much a thing where they use tons of it, but it's definitely a different look. So you might want to consider an Asian tropical influence too. There's a lot of beautiful looks that come out of there when you combine the different elements of it properly. So there, we've touched on some regional influences just very quickly there. But yeah, as we always say, get online and just check out some different tropical regions from around the world and see what they have to offer. There's a lot of great imagery available, a lot of great inspiration out there. And we hope that today's show has just given you some more insight into tropical styling and what it is, how to go about getting there, understanding different choices in furniture, the different woods that are available, how to use different upholstery pieces compared to those woods. And yeah, just bringing the outdoors in. To me, it's just a real connection with nature. It's that whole peacefulness. It's bringing in that warmth, that relaxation that you feel when you're at the beach. And when you have that image in mind, and then you take the time to really study it a bit, get online and look for the pieces that help to fill that in and know your materials as much as you can. Look for those good quality pieces. Make sure your colors just match up to align with that image that you have in your head and then go for it. The styles are out there. It's not hard to do. It doesn't have to be expensive. And if you're looking for just a light touch, just kind of like a little sprinkling of pieces and colors, go with a single accent rattan chair, maybe a bit of cool wall art, a decor piece or two. And maybe you've arrived at your location with that you've always dreamed of. Or if you're like me and you want to just put the whole location in your house, which can be a little over the top sometimes. Yeah, you go as heavy or as light as you like. The choice is yours. The style is all about what you see for your interior and exterior space. So do it in a way that works for you. It's the most important outcome here is to just design a serene space where you can relax and enjoy the ambience of the tropics, no matter where you live. That's the whole result here. That's your end goal. So for now, go ahead and check us out on Patreon. Visit our website and get some inspiration from wherever else you can. Write those ideas down and then start mapping out that new look. So until we meet again, have an awesome week, everyone. Thanks for joining us, and we will catch up again soon. Take care. Bye bye.